Teacher Mary, your teacher of English, and today we'll be looking at simple past tense. Simple past tense. Just a reminder, the word past, even if you're talking to somebody, one will ask you, what did you do in your past? That automatically tells you it is something that has already happened. So, simple past tense talks about things or events or actions. Let's call them actions. Actions that happened. Okay? Actions that happened. So simple past tense talks about actions that happened. Something that had already happened. That is why we say the word past. It is no longer in our present, neither is it in our future, but it is in the past. And we usually concentrate on actions, and actions are what you call verbs. Actions are what we call verbs. So when you're writing the past tense of verbs, we look at two types of verbs. One, we look at the regular verbs. We look at the regular verbs. Then the second one that we will look at is the irregular verb or irregular verbs in plural. So let us kindly look at regular verbs. If you hear the word regular, this means these are things that are common, things that we experience every day. So regular verbs are verbs that we are comfortable with, the ones that we comfortably use, okay, on a daily basis. So what happens when you are writing regular verbs, okay? So what happens when you're writing the past tense of the simple past tense of regular verbs? So this is what happens. Usually we add ed. We usually add ed to bring the past tense, to bring about the past tense, or we add ied, or we add ied. So for regular verbs, there is a simple rule. We add either ed or ied. But how do you go about it? How do we go about it? One, let us use an example of the word stop or clap. Let us use an example with the word stop or clap. So for example, the word we will be looking at is stop. Stop, okay? So what is the past tense of stop? The past tense is stopped, isn't it? But how do you write that? So this is the rule. Rule 1, when a word has one vowel sound coming before the consonant. The vowel sound here is O, isn't it? And the consonant is P. The consonant is P. So when we have a vowel sound, we have a vowel preceding or coming before, preceding a consonant, add, okay, you double the consonant, and then add ed. So for example, stop, the past tense is stopped. How will we write it? Like that, okay? So, dear learner, remember, when a vowel sound, or not a vowel sound, when a vowel, just one single vowel, comes before a consonant, double the consonant, write two of them, then you add the ed, okay? So this, you will test yourself with words such as stop, clap, and so on, and so forth. What about if a word ends with Y? If a word ends with Y, for example, cry. Okay, so how will we write, what is the past tense of cry? Past tense of cry is cried. How will we write it? Okay, we've added the IED, but what is missing? The Y is missing. So dear learner, when you're writing your simple past tense and the word ends with Y, delete the Y, replace it. No, don't just replace it, delete it, then you add the IED. You add the IED. Okay? So internalize this and let us go to irregular verbs. Irregular verbs. So two rules. Usually for the past tense you add either ed or ied. But the rules of writing must apply. What happens if you're talking about irregular verbs? This is what happens. Unlike regular verbs where we have rules that we must follow, that is adding ed and adding ied, for irregular verbs we do not have such rules because the entire structure of that verb changes. An example is by, an example is buy, okay? I buy. The past tense of buy will be bought. Bought, okay? Find, please find me a cup of water. Find, past tense of find will be found. Okay? So as you can see, the structure or even the wordings and even the pronunciation of the words change completely. So that is what we call irregular verbs because it doesn't have a common rule that will go with each and every irregular verb. For example, you see buy, bought, find, found, leave, left. You see? So we don't have a certain rule that goes with each and every irregular verb. So my dear one, something to note, not all verbs that end with Y do we add the ID. Not all verbs, okay? Not all verbs end with Y do we add the ID, like the IED, like cry, you omit the Y, then you add the IED. No. Some of them, if this is something you need to remember and note, so I'll put a star. So, if a vowel comes before the Y, we add ED. Okay? If a vowel comes before the Y, we add ED. So, for example, play. What is the past tense of play? Will be played. Played. This one applies. You remember the first rule that we had given you? If a vowel comes before a consonant, a vowel coming before a consonant, we double. Remember the first rule? If a vowel comes before the consonant, we double the consonant, then we add ed. Then the second rule was, if a verb ends with Y, you omit the Y, you remove or delete the Y, then you replace with IED. But for this one is an exception because as you can see, it is cutting across rule 1 and it is also cutting across rule 2. It is a special rule. This one only applies for regular verbs because we've said for regular verbs, that is where we have rules. So if a word has one vowel coming before a Y, a vowel coming before a Y, please do not delete the Y, just add ED straight to the point. Okay? I hope you've internalized that. So, a test for you. You will look for as many verbs as you can randomly. Just create a map in your mind randomly, write them down and try to apply the rules that we have just discussed. I was your teacher, Miss Mary. Until next time.